You know, there's been a bunch of reports that people walked out during screenings of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And after watching it myself, I honestly don't know what made them walk out because there was nothing in this movie that was like, "Oh, I would walk out over this." Like there's nothing that's really I mean, the movie has issues and it has its flaws for sure, but there's nothing I would walk out over. Um, I mean, I remember like first hearing about that, and then I was starting to think like, oh, shoot, are they actually gonna take the comics route, and is Black Manta gonna kill the baby? But nope, that doesn't happen. That does not happen. And that's as much as I'll say until. Spoiler warning, people, if you haven't seen Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, this will be a spoiler review for the film. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, then probably don't watch this video. But yeah, we'll be talking spoilers, all the, nitty gritty details of what goes down in this film. And the first thing I want to talk about is that I mentioned in my non-spoiler review that one of my issues with this movie is just that Black Manta isn't Black Manta. He's Black Manta, but possessed and being controlled by King of Necros, whatever that guy's name was. Um, and you know, Black Manta was really cool in this film, though. He was really brutal. I loved how, with his laser eyes, it actually burned these Atlanteans. It burned AMRA. It burned Orm. I thought that was really cool. Again, he didn't kill the baby. And, one other thing that I thought would have been really cool if we got to maybe see was if, he sliced off Aquaman's hand and we got the hook hand like he has in the comics or in Justice League Unlimited. That would have been really cool. I think that would have been awesome. But unfortunately that didn't happen. But that's fine. Again, also, as I mentioned in the non-spoiler review, the action here is great. The visuals are great. And this movie is just a lot of fun. Sure, Jason Momoa is being Jason Momoa, but I mean, his chemistry with Patrick Wilson as Orm, that big brotherly connection was great to see. Going back to Black Manta, you also have Randall Park in here as Dr. Shin. He appeared in the first movie only in the post-credit scene, and now he returns here in a very extremely large role. He was a great character. He was kind of like our eye line into there because he kind of juggled his morality with this situation, and he didn't want to be involved in it, but he was still kind of trapped there. He was being held against his will, basically. And I also loved how he would just say things that like us, the audience, would also say for sure as well. And kind of the big plot line of this movie and like Black Manta's whole thing is that he's basically contributing majorly to global warming. That's like the big theme of this movie is bringing awareness to global warming and climate change, which I mean, the first Aquaman movie was pretty environmentally political as well. But this I think was great because obviously, global warming it's a pretty serious issue. Um, I'm I'm personally even seeing the effects right now. Like I live in a place that is extremely snowy all the time, but then we just got this huge rainstorm right before Christmas. It snowed once before Christmas, and usually we begin snow in October. Climate change is real, people. And Aquaman brings that to the table here. So I thought that was really cool. Kind of adds a real stake into this and, a nice connection to the real world as well. Now, when it comes to Atlantis, we don't spend as much time underwater as we did in the first film. We don't really get to have as much on display. Like I said, the visuals are still great. I did enjoy going to that new. I don't know what the place was called, but it was like the pirate hangout place. We had Martin Short voicing the big fish. That was cool to see. Topo, the octopus in here, is great as well. Of course, Topo was playing the drums in the first movie, and now is here teaming up with Aquaman. I thought Topo was a great character, and a nice addition to the team. Speaking of Atlantis, though, I mentioned my non-spoiler review how a character like Nicole Kidman's Queen Atlanta, or whatever her name is, and Mira obviously have much smaller roles in this film. But another character from the first film that is not featured here at all is Willem Dafoe's Vulko, and it is confirmed here that he actually was killed off screen. So, I mean, that kind of sucks. I wish we got to have Willem Dafoe here, because he was a great part of the first movie, but obviously, because we know this franchise isn't continuing, it doesn't make me as, and also, it was just an off-screen death that was just mentioned casually, so it didn't really hit that hard, unfortunately, but, whatever, I guess. We do have, of course, Aquaman's baby in here as well. Unfortunately, no, well, not unfortunately. Fortunately, actually, the baby is not murdered, so that's great. But I did really just enjoy seeing Aquaman as a father. I thought he was a great father. I loved his relationship with his son. Some people thought the opening was a bit ridiculous and cheesy, with how you open with like this super serious action scene, and then it cut to Aquaman telling the story of this to his son by using action figures and smashing them around. I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice way to intro into this movie. I thought that was nice. And we get to see that the baby actually also has powers to be able to talk to fish as well. So I thought that was cool. I enjoyed that aspect. And I also mentioned previously that, Black Manta in this movie, he's controlled by the King of Nekris. So we're introduced to the Lost Kingdom of Nekris. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed the backstory with that, all the flashbacks and everything. That was really interesting to see. And then, we get Black Manta versus Aquaman. Again, great fight. I really enjoyed the Trident versus Trident battle. That really put a smile on my face because just the comics accuracy, a dream I've always had to see Aquaman in the classic orange and green fighting Black Manta in that classic comics accurate suit, Trident to Trident. I've always wanted to see that on the big screen, and I finally get to see it here. So it was well worth the wait. That was fantastic to see. But of course, we get the arrival of this King of Nekris, and I did really enjoy the stuff with Orm when he was kind of possessed by the Black Trident as well. Orm and Arthur's chemistry in this film was great, so that part towards the end where it was looking like maybe he was turning bad again, that was really nice to see. And I did also enjoy, because I wasn't sure, when he threw the Trident at the King of Nekris and then he caught it, I was like, oh dang, how much longer is this movie? How much longer is this fight scene going to be? But I did enjoy that, it wasn't that easy, but after that, Aquaman was still able to kind of defeat him easily, but it wasn't, easy. It was oh, plan B, basically. So I enjoyed that. And then, our ending for this movie, we get kind of a happy ending. Everybody's alive, everybody's safe. Orm, of course, is still a fugitive in Atlantis, so his death is kind of faked, and he's sent off to live a undisclosed life, and that leads to our post-credit scene as well, which, can you just believe, the final scene of the DCEU is Patrick Wilson eating a cockroach. It's kind of crazy, both in a good and bad way. But our movie ends in a very Black Panther type of way, with Aquaman basically coming out to the world and revealing Atlantis to the surface world and wanting to join the United Nations and giving this big speech. And then he has his I am Iron Man moment, which a lot of people thought was pretty ridiculous, and kind of lacking in dignity. But I thought it was funny. I thought it worked. I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty much Aquaman. Black Manta does die here as well. Supposedly, comic book logic, he's probably alive, but we'll never see him again because we're not getting a third movie, because this is the end of the DCU. Again, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was great. Not quite as good as the first movie, but still really, really a good movie. A great Aquaman movie? Maybe not. But a good movie overall. So, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? What do you think about this being the end of the DCU? Do you wish we got more Jason Momoa Aquaman? Do you wish we got an Aquaman 3? Let me know in the comments below. So, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.